Hello guys, how you doing? Wardy here, casting more StarCraft 2 for you guys. There's going to be a set of matches from Nation Wars. Nation Wars are best of sevens between countries, which have 2 players on each country playing some games. Basically, the match is made up of a couple of best of one 1v1s, and then a 2v2, then more 1v1s, and then another 2v2. So this is a match between Poland and Finland, and I know that the Finnish player that you guys want to watch is Serral. So what I've done is I put Serral's 2 1v1 matches in here, and the 2v2s that he's played in the match versus Finland versus Poland. So enjoy. That's why it's a bit of a mix of things, and that's why sometimes the score will skip a game, because that's Serral's teammate playing his games, but I cut that out to make this just one video full of Serral, so that you guys can have a great day. Enjoy. And by the way, I wasn't saying that to be like nasty or anything. That it's just like yesterday, or a couple of days ago, when we started a match with the Home Story Cup, 3 people came in and were like blaming me for starting without Roddy, and it's like I had no control over it, so that's all I meant. As obviously love Roddy, and I really think it's kind of crazy that they started a game without him, but, well, I guess if we didn't reply to DMs, I mean, that's the admin's call, so. Bane's, Ling's speed, and Elazer just being super cheesy here to start out with, so we're not going to get any time to really intro or to catch you guys up on what's happened so far today. But he's going to go straight into aggression, and Elazer's going to come across the map and basically try to kill Serral. Let's see if he can do so. It does feel like if you can get one map off of Serral, then the entire strength of the Finnish team is going to fall apart heavily. This roster, I think, and the way that this format works really relies on you kind of Serral not dropping a map. Then obviously, you know, he's basically going to get 3 points, and then you just win one of the 2v2s, which is double Zerg isn't easy, but very possible, right? It's 2v2. No one really understands 2v2 super well, right? Serral's response here, Baneland has before speed, because it's not about having speed on your lings, it's about having defensive units. You can probably afford to lose the hatchery here. As you can see, link speed popping up. Serral's going to start backing away. He has got a spine crawler coming in. He sees an expansion from Elazer, but you'll see that that expansion is late, which means he knows it has to be defensive initially, as this Queen going to continue to fight against some of the lings, but it is going to go down, so Serral is going to be losing out on this for the moment. Going to be seeing the few lings going in after that hatchery there, and hatchery continue to fall. Is going to be dropping down dead, so the hatchery is going to be down and out. Serral's up by 7 workers though, so this isn't troubling yet. These sort of builds that, you know, this build that Elazer's doing needs to do so much to get you into a good position, because of the fact that you can just survive on one base and be okay because of your work account. And even, you know, look at it this way, Elazer has to build 350 minerals of drones to get back into the work account in this game. Well, Serral can just build a hatchery for that amount of money, and then it kind of looks like it's evened out, right? While Serral's been mining more throughout. Obviously, the big issue for Serral is he doesn't have the extra production from the natural hatchery. That is the biggest problem of all here. We do lose one baneling as this Queen comes down. The spine crawler on the ramp to try and help out. Serral just trying to utilize these couple of banelings to do what he can. He's still got 2 left, and oh wow, only one ling went down there. This last bane will go down as well, and I actually think Serral's natural might be cancelled a second time. That is a big deal, I think, as this Bane's going to come down. Serral has to wait till the last second. And a couple of Banes, a couple of Lings again, split off to deal with it. I got to say, really good micro out of Elazer. He's been microing like a boss right here, and has really dealt with every single Baneland of Serral very well. And you have to, like I say, if you don't do that, you kind of just die in this situation. So that is very cool to see. That's very nice. I'm just going to be seeing a spine crawler time now to burrow up on the low ground, which it seems as though it is going to get to do. That should be Serral finally defended here. Still 6 workers ahead. Down a little bit of army supply at the moment. As away we go. Good aggression, like I say, out of Elazer. It's just, like I say, though, I mean, this game is still far from being over, and that's why it's so tough to try and make these kind of builds work, right? Because you need to get so much out of this to actually make it successful. I mean, it's really tough to try and find that, as we do have the lings of the Elazer running around. Obviously, Serral doesn't have... oh, no, he does have ling speed now. I was going to say, does he still have ling speed still? No, he does. He's going to start up an Evo chamber, which I kind of like. This might be kind of ling heavy for a while, so maybe just carapace and just kind of, you know, something that's going to help your lings out for quite some time, or eventually. Kind of like it, just because of the way the game's gone. I think it's more likely you see that than it kind of going into roaches super quickly. It's likely to kind of go back and forth ling bane aggression, so if you can sneak an upgrade down, then brilliant. He actually sneaks down the missiles and he cancels into the carapace. And I do think even if you want to go roaches, the carapace is nicer. because I do think that, like it's just been saying, there's going to be likely a good amount of Lings in play, and that carapace will benefit both your Lings and eventual Roaches, of course. How many queens were killed? He killed 2 queens. This is the resources lost. Obviously very favorable towards Elazer, but the income advantage was massively in Serral's favor the entire time because he was still just mining off more drones on one base. Big scout from Serral as well. That Ling is massive. It gets to see the lair. It gets to see the timing of things. I mean, that's just beautiful. You just get a rough idea of what's going on. There's no hidden Roach roaring, right? That's a big deal. So that scout going off from Serral is really big because he just fully knows now where he's at in this game. He doesn't have to worry about any sort of sneaky things from Elazer. I mean, the only sneaky thing Elazer could be doing right now would be if he was like, I don't know, if he like hatch canceled, built like a structure out on the map somewhere. Like, that's just like, you know, to the point of being almost ridiculous, you know? So unless you're playing against Blah, you don't usually have to worry about that nonsense. So yeah, it's really looking great here in that regard. Just gonna see these double queens gonna jump onto this Ovi. Ovi taking some damage straight away. Lair is continuing up on the main base as well. Just gonna be seeing the Lings and the Bane setting up in the center. Just gonna have a few drones transferring over. Away we go. Resources lost a bit deceptive because detonated Banes don't count. I mean, sure. I mean, I think my point is, it's just, it didn't really, like, it's not enough resources lost on either side, no matter what. For the economy that Serral had. The income that Serral had is able to kind of speak for itself, I suppose. I think that's the important part of all this as we come on through. Lings, Queens, Banes gathering up on the low ground there and having a fun time for a few moments as we continue along through this. Figuring out just again what is going to be the next step of all of this right now. We've got our Roaches coming through. Obviously, it looks like we're just going to head into Roach vs. Roach. Elazer's going to have a +1 missile advantage, but obviously Serral's already got +1 carapace, so eventually Serral will end up on the upgrade lead. It's just there's going to be a short amount of time where there's going to be missiles versus carapace, and that's for purely Roach versus Roach. That is kind of nice, so something to maybe watch for. We'll see if it matters. Elazer finds himself a queen on the 3rd base. A couple of drones as well. Not bad harassment as he runs on through here. Elazer down by a couple of drones, but he is getting more army supply up right now. Oh, Serral sees how many Roaches there is, though, so it's a great scout. Once again, gaining information throughout. Serral is just able to constantly make good decisions based on what he is seeing, and that goes a long, long way. Roach is continuing up, just going to be seeing our Roaches, Lings, Spine Crawler just going to fire through. The Roach is going to continue to get picked away at here. And just going to be having a couple of queens coming through. Another queen coming down from the high ground. And just going to be seeing the army of Elazer getting pushed back for the moment. That spine from earlier is now going to kind of backfire for Elazer because it means that it's a spine that Serral just has naturally to help him in moments like this as well. And to keep him in a strong spot. +2 missile starts from Elazer. He's droning. He knows he's not going to win the game with this push or anything. So he's already looking toward the future. Roaches get forward, just going to grab that Ravager. These few other Roaches are going to sneak on by. And just stand up to the top side. A couple of drones already being picked away at. A few Lings getting chased around as well. You've seen our Roaches still chasing other Roaches away down over there. The Spine Crawler fighting, and just going to be seeing our Queen continue to put a little bit more pressure in. The Lings will go down, and that will be that. I mean, Serral is really committing to this right now. He has just not gone into +2. He's not gone into any more Roaches. Into any more drones. It's just been Roaches. He's about 20 army supply up. And remember, he's got that carapace upgrade advantage. So that builds into this attack right now as well. That's something to keep in mind as we do see Corrosive Valves dropping. Serral has a few Ravagers that the Elazer just does not have as well. So that's extra damage output. And it's just extra. I mean, the Corrosive Valves just force positioning. Love the Contaminate on the Evo Chamber just in case. Especially if this was Carapace, he might actually be catching up on upgrades right now, but I mean, it's also just a case of whatever it is, drop it down, delay it. Serral will pick up the map, will get the W, and we'll be able to take this game number 1 off of Elazer. So he is able to take that down, and away we go into game number 2 of this best. Alrighty, so it's 1-1, and in the top left, it's Spirit and Elazer from Team Poland. In the bottom right, it's Mixu and Serral from Team Finland. Let's see how they all fare up against each other as we get this one underway in the next little while. Does feel like a fairly important one. Like I say, I do think the secret to beating Finland, if you can't take the maps off Serral, is in the 2v2. Because at the very least, you must, if Mixu doesn't win a map and you're relying on Serral, you still need to win a 2v2. Now, Zerg is not brilliant in 2v2. Generally, what you would expect to see in 2v2 with Zerg is probably like some very aggressive plays, like double rush very quickly, like maybe Bane Burst from one side and a Roach Rush on another. Just get in there early and do some damage because... And Mixu and Serral try to do that, not so successfully yesterday. But if you don't do that, it becomes very difficult. It becomes very challenging to really find success because you just don't fare well into the later game. And they played a crazy game against Ratatar and Skillus the other day, but that was very long, it was very drawn out. It was on this map. I just don't know if that's something you can realistically go into repeatedly, and I feel like Team Peace probably could have ended that much sooner last time around, so we will see, we will see. How does this work? Yeah, so first two maps are 1v1, third map is 2v2, fourth and fifth maps are 1v1, sixth map is 2v2, and the seventh map, if needed, is an ace map, best of one, 1v1 again. It's nice. I think so far it's been a good mix of 2v2. It's not overboard crazy on 2v2, right? But it's a good mix. It gives you a good feel for who's the stronger nation overall. The 2v2 can definitely be a factor, a bit of teamwork involved, but it doesn't rely massively on the 2v2. So yeah, it's a way where overall a team of two stronger players can have an advantage, but the team with only one strong player can still be good if they have good teamwork. It's neat. I actually kind of like it in this format. I think it's really, really good, honestly. Way better than I thought it was going to be. And around the set 2v2, I was like, eh. We had the 2v2 pre-show, I was like, eh. But actually, it's working quite nicely in the course of a best of 7 and stuff. So you can see Serral and Mixu are already going Bane Bust on one side and Roach Rush on another. I don't want to call myself a 2v2 expert, guys, but I would like to say I kind of predicted this about about 2 minutes ago. It is just what's best to do with this kind of combination of races that we've got here. So, yeah, like I say, it shouldn't be too surprising, honestly. It's kind of the expectation, considering what we've got going on. And let's see if it's going to be... See if it's going to be enough, then. Let's see if we can find a defense here from Spirit and Elazer. See if they can hold again. Their 2v2 was great. When they got established, their weakness was when they died early. So, let's see what will happen this time around. A few Lings coming across. A few Lings there from Elazer moving around. Some Banelings here already running around a little bit as well. The Hellions coming through. Some Zerglings being picked away at. Bane's coming through as well. Extra Bane's morphing. I mean, this is already great. These Hellions are doing a lot. The Roach is finally here to start zoning out the Hellions, but... yeah, they did a lot of shutting down and slowing down already, so gotta love that. Elazer's gonna go and try counterattack, catch reinforcements. Spirit builds a bunker quite far back. He's on his way to a tank and some Marines. Elazer with high ground and low ground spines. Jeez, they have a lot to hold on with here. I'm not sure how successful this will be, and I mean, it looks as though Mixu is already starting to drone. Serral is still making some extra lanes. Again, the Hellions just get a massive connection on the Banelings, and this doesn't really feel like it's going to go anywhere at all. Mixu and Serral are going to get pushed away very easily. Again, basically no success at all in this early push. And that's got to feel pretty good for Team Poland right now. It's got to feel very good for Team Poland right there. Yeah, now we have Elazer going into the Spire, and we'll see if Spirit starts feeding him gas, cuts tank production, and just start, we just basically start massing up into mutas. They're on the way from Mix. I wonder what the response will be. I guess obviously very Queen heavy to try and deal with the mutas. Obviously, maybe I guess you got to go into Hydras or Infestors or something, especially if Elazer's getting fed gas from Spirit. Spirit's actually now going to go into Infernal Pre-Igniter, and he's going to focus on Hellion production. And again, that allows all of his gas to get ferried over to Elazer. So if he wants to, he can just send mass gas to Elazer, build Hellions of his own, and that's how they're going to try and take control of this. So keep an eye out for Spirit's gas disappearing. And it all ended up in Elazer's bank when this Spire is done to just mass up a whole bunch of mutas. It's 500 gas in the bank right now from Spirit. Like I say, keep an eye on that and see if that's the case. Elazer, it needs a couple overloads and probably just more minerals in general, actually. Obviously, having to spend so much on spines and stuff did slow him down a little bit from getting to where he is at, but should be able to still make that work pretty reasonably sometime soon. A couple of spines going to move forward, get burrowed up. The good news here from Team Finland is that Mixu's taking a third, so is Serral. As, by the way, all the gas has disappeared from Spirit. It's all in the hands of Elazer now, so 8 meters out in total here, and he's still got, 4 more on the way, plus the +1 attack, so here you go. All of a sudden, you're going to come across the map here in a game. What's the answer? Well, spores are beginning to build, but they were not building here right away, so yeah, you got a few moments here to get these spores up, and yeah, until then, it's kind of these queens. Now, it's not enough meters immediately to really fight queens, so defense here is initially okay. Again, behind this, you're getting a meching Terran as well, so that's the real problem, is that these meters are going to cause all the distractions, all the chaos, all the, just really be annoying. And then behind it, you've got someone who's playing the strongest style in the game when it goes unharassed. So how are you going to get across to stop the mech player getting set up? Well, you kind of don't, and that's the power of this. Mixu's supply is swarming as he's building a lot of roaches. And he's on 65 drones. I mean, the economy is actually kind of impressive for Mixu going all out droning. Serral playing 46 drones. Yes, the other day Serral played quickly into lurkers and stuff. Right now he's building some extra roaches. He doesn't have Serral a third base, so he doesn't really have a need to go beyond the drone count that he currently has. So that's a lot of what's kind of happening here. We'll see the lair finishing. We'll have access to roach speed and other upgrades. Get that going shortly. Here we go. These mutas are going to start picking away at these extractors, so just finding some openings and some positions that are going to be that little bit annoying, right? And again, that's a big part in how these mutas are going to succeed. As you see, the third base is coming up from Spirit and Elazer here very soon as well. Serral's going to start dropping down the infestation pit. He's about to finish up a melee upgrade, and again, that's kind of the difference between the two. It's missile focus from Mixu, melee focus at the moment from Serral. That's how they're kind of splitting the jobs here in the Z matchup for 2v2. He's going to get overhead, and a few of these roaches starting to get picked off. They're going to potentially be able to jump on top of this hatchery, maybe pick their way through that. Hatchery is going to end up cancelled. We just came in and just managed to snag that drone as well, so able to get rid of it. Nice little pickup. Additional lings just through the center of the map, and just going to be seeing the +2 melee upgrade coming up right now as well. We'll run by here from Serral, going to find a couple of SCVs. Again, Serral needs to get that third base up. I feel like without his economy going right now, Serral's really kind of one of the weaker players in the game at the moment, which is actually I felt like was one of the issues when they were playing 2v2 the other day as well, is that Serral seems to end up playing on the lower eco setups, and I just wonder if that's overall kind of better. I mean, overall you might say, well, yeah, that's okay, because Mixu's actually fine to just play roaches and mass roaches off the higher eco, but and kind of let Serral play the more technical stuff. You'll see a Knight is coming up from Mixu, so you can try and provide some harassment or so. Get that going. It's going to be seen that Muta's picking up a lot of these creep tumors, so clearing out a little bit, and again, just trying to maintain map control. Obviously tough for the roaches to get across the map. If you can sneak a Nidus across somewhere, get those roaches out, all of a sudden you could even bring the queens as part of your defense at that point. Then obviously it can get pretty interesting pretty quickly as queens moving forward, the roaches coming through. You're just still taking a bit of damage as they get shoved away. Queens are there immediately to push the mutas back over the other side. And yeah, doing a pretty good job of this as the mutas continue to move themselves around here. Maybe seeing our queens, our roaches, just gonna get shoved away for the moment. It's a hell of a lot of queens. those queens are going to really be able to stay in these fights. I mean, at this point in time, Elazer's making a lurker den, so if he gets up to lurkers, then brilliant. Serral finally with a new base and extra drones. It's crazy, right? Just how much a third base does. You can just see the supplies so far ahead for everyone over Serral. I mean, Serral is on his way to Ultras, though, so he's got masses of tech. He's only just now taking the third. So, like I say, it seems like Serral's been kind of dead throughout, but it's kind of been, like, a choice, right? Like, they've decided to do it this way. So it's, you know, like I say, kind of intriguing as the mutas get over here. That's an insta-kill on that hatchery. Nice pick-off. Really nice pick-off, actually. That's great. Fantastic little something there. Coming back around, getting another hatchery kill. Just going to get these Vipers trying to consume up and get themselves some energy. Queen's going to try and get rid of this Overlord. A couple of drones going to continue down into that bottom side and just get mining. I mean, it's funny, this is what the Nidus has delivered. Some Queens harassing the bottom left-hand corner base. So, some Queen harass through the Nidus. Obviously, the Viper's very important here as well. Definitely one of the benefits of having teched up, having Vipers to land parasitic bombs on those mutas. A parasitic bomb on this mutaflock for a few moments can do a lot to weaken it up, soften it up, and go from there. So, let's see how it goes as the Spore Crawler gets rid of the Overlord overhead. And again, Adaptive Talons, Groove Spines, all of that's still coming through. He landed the parasitic bomb on those Mutalisks, my goodness. Masses of damage being done. The mutas are hurting big time. Okay, I mean, we're looking for more as well. He's looking for the follow-up, and he's going to be able to cast it. Cast it into the other flock. Interesting choice. Obviously looking for like a lot more kind of just spread damage across the board rather than potentially trying to get some kills there. Interesting choice. I don't know if I'm 100% behind that. I feel like you could have at least had a few kills, right? That would have been nice. So, yeah, like I say, interesting. It's going to be seen mutas pulling back, and again, this entire left side of the map is kind of just belonging to the Spirit and the Elazer. And again, we haven't really talked much about Spirit, but he's just been massing up a mech army, and he is now maxed out on mech. Serral is catching up to being maxed out as well, so everyone's going to be maxed here soon, and it's going to be the real question of who's built up the better composition. Can they fight a mech force? As double Zerg. They will have spellcasters to aid with the engagement into the mech army, of course. That part's not really the scary part, I don't think. It's just, there's going to be so much mech, and again, can you just have the units to trade efficiently into that? It is difficult to ask, right? These Ultras, by the way, I never noticed the Ultras with that, it's never been so obvious to me, those Ultras that have that little, like, speed boost behind them when they have that anabolic synthesis. That animation is something I feel like I never noticed until, like, I've said this before one time too. It's like, it's very rare, it's noticeable, but right there is like a massive wind behind these Ultras. Maybe it's just the skin of them. Makes it a little more visible than usual. Ultras continuing up to the top side. Our Lurkers continue to stay burrowed. We do have our Vikings join up together. We press forward a little bit. Just going to be seeing the Ultralisks moving through, the Vipers coming in. Blinding Clouds all over the place. So this is our attempt to break this mech army from Serral and Mixers. They come collapsing on in with all of these Ultralisks, Roaches in support. I mean, okay, if you can tell me what the hell's going on right now, I'd be bloody impressed, because there is so many units just swarming. The Lurker support from Elazer helps a lot in this as well, but there's still some Ultras at the front, Lurkers in the back from Elazer doing damage as well. I mean, just utter chaos of a fight. Elazer comes out highest on supply, followed by the two Zergs from Team Finland. Then Spirit a bit further down. That makes sense because Terran will rebuild a lot slower than the Zerg players will, so that makes perfect sense at least. Moving back over the top, a Nidus network coming into play there as well, so just getting that up and running. Let's get across, and that is going to be the Nidus finishing up. Just going to be seeing our Cyclones moving over and trying to get a lock onto the Overseer there, trying to push that away, trying to keep that out of trouble. I mean, as Elazer and Spirit rebuild, they rebuild quite nicely. I feel like Mixu and Serral, obviously less workers overall between them. gonna have a bit of a tougher time rebuilding. What's resources lost like as well? Way better for Serral and Spirit. I think it was honestly a reasonable fight for Team Finland, but the problem is not really in the fight, it's in the follow-up to the fight. And I think that's really where they are going to start struggling now. I think that's where they're not going to be able to do as much as they would like, or be as successful as they would want to be. Again, the entire left side of the map now belonging to Spirit and Elazer. They're going to try and get that final bottom left base up. Maybe some of the center base can still be taken as well. Obviously, again, they just have what seems like economy for days. There's just going to be no holding them back when it comes to eco. The Lurkers firing up a storm. A couple Lurkers getting pushed away. Mutas are there, and the Ultras get chased out of it. Just going to be seeing our parasitic bombs coming off on those few Mutas. Try and get rid of them from just hanging out overhead. Splits are reasonable, though, and it's kind of funny because Mutas don't really kill Ultras at all. They just don't do enough damage. As we have snipes now mixed in. This is the power, again, of the mech army. The mech players being able to do what they want. Usually the answer in 1v1 is, what do you do against mech with ghosts? Well, why the hell did you let them get mech with ghosts on the map? Like, what were you doing all game? Well, you were dealing with the Zerg teammate in 2v2. That's the issue. And with ghosts on board, it feels like Spirit's army is going to be so much better for the next fight based on what we're currently working with from Serral and Mixu. The snipes are like the missing key ingredient that's just going to make this a way better time. We're already starting to deny some bases with a bit of a mech push. However, Elazer's army is on its own in the top. All of these Lurkers might get caught. They're going to have to burrow some of them just to try and do something. But the Ultra's obviously right on top of them already. Here comes the Roaches as well. The coordination of Mixu and Serral is going to reward them with a massive fight. And all of a sudden, Spirit then has to try and fight and salvage this fight for Team Poland. So Finland are actually going to start doing very well in this engagement. And yeah, I mean, just getting a massive jump. And that was just Elazer getting too far out of the way, too far separated from his teammates. And again, the coordination from Finland able to come through and deliver this time around. That's the little snipes going down as the Ghosts clean up those final Ultras that were harassing. That's Nidus again. I mean, obviously, the later it gets in the game, the more difficult it is to notice or keep track of these little things and little bits of harassment that are trying to come through. So, yeah, this might be where that Nidus from earlier in the game finally gets to shine. Mida's actually gone to it pretty quickly. We're going to try and bet another Nidus up again, just in case you don't notice. I don't think that will really happen so far. Elazer is looking good to defend that. It's kind of the benefit of still having the Mutas on the map that they can just go back and deal with it rather than like a main chunk of your army. Ultras pulling back up the top side. The Queen's pushing forward and a couple Overlords taking damage as well. The Lurkers do get burrowed up and they're going to push those Queens away. So the Queen's getting pushed back there. Just going to be seeing the Knight is getting dropped down. I've got Ling Ultra continue to chase forward. The Hydras continue to try and run out of the way there. The other Lurkers do get burrowed up. Again, attempting the Niduses, I mean, it's cheap enough to keep on trying it, right? So, may as well just give it a go. Keep the attention of Spirit and Elazer as kind of drawn away from the main fights and the main armies as possible. This fight's about to break out. We're not all fully maxed, but we're within 20-ish supply, 10 to 20 supply of each other, so all of this will come down to how the fight goes rather than just the size of the armies. The problem is the position of Spirit and Elazer is extremely good. I mean, utilizing the middle of the map very well. This ramp area is going to be very tough to attack through once your opponents are set up on the other side of it, so there's basically nothing you can do at that point. So that is, like I say, very rough and very tough to figure out. These few Lings clearing up on the bottom side. These couple of other Lurkers moving forward. The Roaches get there, picking those Lurkers off. Viper's still sitting around overhead. We're going to have our Ultras coming through around the top side as well. These few drones going to move away elsewhere for the moment. Oh, Viper's actually getting caught in some parasitic bombs. Ooh, one of them died. And the other one low HP, so easily picked off in the fight now. So actually some benefit of that. Uh-oh, Serral, don't kill your own hatchery. Oh, Serral's too good to kill his own hatchery. Just because he's playing 2v2 don't mean he's not Serral, right? Spirit and Elazer keeping this going on this top side. Some snipes, some mass coming through. EMPs on the queens as well. Just going to be seeing the lurkers. Going to be able to do very well still on those queens. Ling's running through, and bottom side counterattack is massive, so that's going to work out nicely. I just don't know how you still take this later game fight. I'm still very worried that Mixu is still kind of just on Roach Hydra. It just feels like his army supply is not quite as good as it should be. Is it still Roach Hydra, by the way, or is it just Hydras? It's so hard to see. It's mostly just Hydras. And Hydras just feel not ideal, but I suppose with the support of Serral's forces, maybe they're okay. Mixu and Serral's supply are just dropping. It feels like they're losing units and not getting anything in return for them, so unfortunately starting to have a bit of a rough time over there, as you do see another scan just dropping down. Attempt to see what's going on. Hydra's coming through, getting a couple of pickoffs going and stuff. I see new Nidus coming up, but it doesn't seem like there's anything to pop out of those Niduses just yet, so that's a little bit awkward as well. Just coming through, looking to try and grab those lurkers if at all possible. Going to be having Cyclones coming through, getting a few lock-ons, obviously going to be good for chasing those Ultras down. Team Finland just look to be low on supply and hurting at the moment, so not having a good time here, not having fun at all. Going to be rough as these shields just going back around the top, and I mean, they have been denying some bases, but they just can't seem to get remaxed again. The army's been so efficient. They've just not had more economy to make up for the inefficiency of their army, which I guess is kind of the problem when you can't stop the entire map being taken. Yeah, again, you're fighting into tanks, lurkers, snipes, and all sorts here. It is a mess, but it's one-sided, and GG's will be called as Finland tap out and Poland get the job done in the 2v2. That's what we needed to see from them to be able to get off to, like I say, I mean, basically Finland need to win 1-2v2. So this is kind of halfway of the job done so far from Poland. They're doing what they're meant to do if they want to advance to the round of 8 here. Alright, let's see if there's some upset potential here. As in the bottom left, Blue Zerg looking tied up again in this series. This is Serral. Representing Finland, of course, here in Nationwars. Top right, our red Terran player is Spirit. And Team Poland lead 2-1. If he can win this somehow, then obviously Poland would be in the driver's seat with Elazer versus Mixu, having Elazer be a big favorite up next. See what Spirit tries to do. He doesn't usually have a lot of success against Serral, to be honest. So let's see if he has something planned, maybe. 2K pretty standard maps, so nothing really to shout about in terms of map selection. And the way the maps work as well, just in case you're wondering, is they actually veto for all of the 1v1 maps before they start, and then each team selects... Each team has, like, a player A slot and a player B slot. And each team knows player A will play on these 2 maps for you, or player B will play on those 2 maps for you. So you just select which 2 maps your player A and player B are. You just select who player A and player B is, so you basically select which 2 maps to play on. And then obviously that's how you get the order of the matches, because obviously, unless it's a 4-0, everyone still plays everyone, but it does have a bit of an impact on what maps they are. So there's a little bit of strategic choice too when players come out and stuff. Is Spirit the best player in Poland? I think Elazer is probably the best player in Poland. Quite comfortably at the moment. I mean, Spirit can have his good days, but I think overall Elazer is a lot more consistent. So yeah, definitely would pick Elazer over Spirit in terms of best Polish player. I had a Polish LAN recently, I'm pretty sure Elazer won that as well, so also pretty good telltale sign of who's best in Poland. Reaper dropping down that grenade and having a pretty good job of this so far, just harassing early as we expect it to be. As Serral, he's already lost himself a Zergling, which is not something that usually happens with Serral, you know, so now Spirit getting a little bit of a moral victory early, gets a link kill. Probably not something that happens every day, like I say. I wonder what the actual percentages of Serral losing a Ling versus Reapers in the early game of TVZ. It sounds like such an interesting stat, actually. That'd be really fun to find out if we could API it somehow. Going to be Banshees from Spirit, gives him some good harassing options while keeping him safe, because Serral's not afraid of cranking out some aggression if he feels like you can just get ahead with it. So, yeah, I like the choices of Spirit. Safe, definitely, again, like I said, give you harassing options too is generally a pretty big benefit as well. And to just have this Overlord Scout so far, though, from Serral is going to see absolutely everything, including the fact that this is going to be one of the later third bases that you will see in TVZ, unless it's a full-on two-base all-in. Which it shouldn't be, it should just be a third base going down shortly. Generally, the third base actually completes the wall off at the front of the natural, so. And just expecting to see that a little bit here. As do have the Marine continue to nibble through the Overlord. Spirit backs up with a few of these Hellions. So I'm going to see Serral is just going to start moving his way into a lair. So that lair tech is coming online. Extra drones, queens, lings all continuing to produce. Moving back down to the south, I'm just going to see this Banshee is going to start putting some damage in. So getting some damage out on the queens, and the Hellions again just looking for some creep spread. I mean, anytime you're denying creep tumors, that's generally nice, but there goes the Banshee. And you got a couple creep tumors so far this game. One Banshee now dead. Obviously takes away from some of the potential future harass. You know, I mentioned that third CC should have come down at the front around about then, but it never did. So this is going to be Spirit hitting on two bases and just trying to win the game with a two-base push. Let's see if you can catch Serral off guard, underprepared. That's basically what you're hoping for a lot of the time with this, so let's see if that will happen, and let's see how that turns out. I'm interested as to how this will get going. So we've seen a couple of Hellions still being pushed away. Queen's getting there to push those Hellions out of there for the moment as well. Just keeping them out of trouble. I'm just going to be again waiting for Spirit, who actually does now drop a third CC. But it's definitely late, so he definitely wants to get some damage done. He's committed to unity where you usually wouldn't have done, so again, you definitely want to get some amount of units in this, otherwise you're going to be in trouble. I don't know how much I like the fact the third is now suddenly on the way. Obviously, it's a nice backup plan, but let's see how Serral deals with this attack. Main speed is not quite ready yet. Serral has no Evo chambers, not playing any upgrades just yet either. So that's one thing that Spirit has definitely forced him away from. It's keeping him away from those Evo chambers, and that's generally a pretty nice little positive that you could kind of take an advantage from later on. As the first upgrade's done. I said he has no evolution chambers. I should have said he hasn't started his upgrades. Would have been a better way to phrase it. Brain lag as we just have our Marines and Hellions coming through and aiming for a couple of Queens. I get one of them pretty quickly. Tank fire is pretty good at the moment, and okay, I mean, Spirit gets a good jump on the start of this. He actually sees this attack coming in up here as well, so he's going to try and move in position to deal with it. Not letting Serral get the surround just yet, letting the Hellions do a lot of damage, and the Hellions actually doing a great job of just picking away at some of those lings, and oh, well, Hellion getting blown up a little bit by the siege tank, which was just trying to hit the nearby creep tumor. It didn't mean to be a nasty bully. And with a couple libs setting up as well, we're going to start seeing Spirit really starting to control the area outside of this base. Again, Serral is looking for the massive wraparound or the potential shutdown on reinforcements. That counterattack is moving across and is just outside the natural Spirit right now. He needs to deal with this effectively, and that's not going to be it. He just moved those units out of the wall off at the wrong time, and now he's going to lose the entire natural mineral line. And probably a whole lot more. Would have preferred to see the Banes go up the ramp onto those depots, and then obviously the Lings just deal with the low ground SCVs, because there's no protection for them. And Serral actually did fix that up and start doing that moments later. Well, Spirit is completely all in on this push right now. No doubt about it. And the problem is Serral can just give up this left side base and play off the 6 o'clock base. So, yeah, it's not exactly looking great. There's 4 libs to get rid of. You know, Spirit's army is still scary. It just feels so tough because Serral has all the time in the world, and he's actually going to counterattack with more Lings. He's just going to have +1 melee finishing, so he'll actually be pretty deadly with those Lings as well. Just going to get through and obviously pick his way through reinforcements after reinforcements. And honestly, just this one counterattack. Spirit was playing around those units coming in from the flank before, but he just didn't seem to have a good answer to them actually countering. And that's the problem with the very slow push here. It just gives the Zerg an eternity to set up something of a counter to deal with it. That's GG's, and Serral is going to take game 4 for Finland. Alright, do or die time for Team Finland in the blues. They need to win this to force an ace match. While on the bottom side, Elazer and Spirit are the red and orange players from Team Poland. Let's see if they can bounce back. Oh yeah, she'll be staring me down because she knows I wasn't the one that gave her the ice cream cup. Just like, there's no way you know about the ice cream. So I'll make you feel bad. Happy Father's Day, Dad. You made me feel terrible. You didn't give me anything. Guys, I'm on Indy's camera here. I got a BRB just 1 minute quickly. I'll be right back. And, sorry, just BRB 1 sec. It is on Indy's camera. He should start moving it in a second. Sorry about that, guys. Welcome back. Did I lie? Was I more than a minute? I'm the worst. Oh, well, more than a second. Definitely more than a second. Sorry about that, guys. Let's get back into it. Let's dive into this little bit of action. Looks like I'm joined back as Elazer. There's a bit of a link flood going on and catches a Queen of Mixu. On Hatchery, Mixu's going to go down. There's just no support. Serral's not set up to do anything yet. He's currently droning and building a lair. And Mixu loses a second queen. That is really bad. Really, really bad. Ling's still looking for more, trying to find queens. Mixu, Serral trying to make this defense happen right now, just getting messed around by Elazer's Lings. Elazer's just finding aggression that Feels like the Team Finland wasn't really expecting it all. So having a bit of a rough time of it right now. Sealsling is still going in after that. Just going to be seeing a few Marines trying to open up the gold base, by the way, as well. On this side of the map, Elazer and Spirit are just chilling, having the time of their life. No massive lings in their base. No problem for the moment. And get a cancel on a hatchery over there and keep this pressure up. These fuelings coming back around the top side. Just going to be having the fuelings of Elazer finally going to get dealt with here at the end. Just going to be seeing the few mutas on the way up, of course, and it's kind of rough, right? You've been dealing with this harassment this entire time now. Mutas are going to show up. This map, quite nice for mutas. There's a lot of dead airspace to harass between that gold base and the main base of Serral, so that will be a factor. And also just the third and fourth that Mixu's taking right now. You can hop between those mineral lines very easily too, so mutas look like they're going to have a fantastic time here. And again, just this is why Terran plus something works so well as a composition, because Terran can be useful without gas, right? So you can feed all of that gas over to your teammate, whether that's Zerg for mutas or Protoss for Phoenix or whatever, and Terran can still be effective. And the other races just don't really work in the same way. They don't have the same kind of effect at all. And that is kind of a big part of the problem, right? That's why I think Terran plus Protoss is probably the best. Phoenix are very, very good when they get masked up in 2v2. As this hatchery is going to survive, the Hellions get back here to protect it, so Mixu will not find a cancel. Instead, will just find himself with a lot less lings than he started with on this harassment mission, unfortunately. That also doesn't really go very well at all. See Mutas coming through. Just gonna get some damage onto the extractor, so a little bit of damage being dealt there. Let's just see the Mutas back around the left-hand side. Gonna try and come in from a different direction now. He's still going in after those roaches and just trying to see what they can do. And again, just pick away at extractors and stuff. This is the harassment that set them up well in that first game of 2v2 in this series. And again, win this, Elazer and Spirit are going to the round of 8. Lose this, and they've got to go to an ace match, probably against Serral, you would guess. Probably not going to pick Mixu for the ace, so yeah, that's how things are looking for the moment. That's where things are at. We just come in, going to try and get this Spore Crawler. It goes down. These extra drones are all going to be going down as well. Mixu's economy is being ripped apart a little bit. Again, that's the power of just being able to jump between these bases. There's a lot of room for work here in these situations. Is it harder to cast 2v2? I think it's harder to observe because there's potentially more going on at once. It's a little harder to cast in the sense of, like, it's hard to know exactly what's good and, like, analyze situations entirely truthfully because, you know, a lot of the time analysis comes from kind of prior experience with said situations, right? It's hard to sort of see that in 2v2, I suppose, because we just don't see it a lot, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily harder overall. And also people are pretty happy just have a more casual cast in 2v2s, so then you don't have to, like, hardcore analyze. People are just happy to kind of chill and listen to a bit more play-by-play, I'd say. Hatchery is going to get cancelled here. These meters still being the showstopper, but the supply of Serral and Mixu is looking pretty good overall. I mean, obviously, Spirit is pretty high in supply, and he's just off and away playing mech, unharassed, and again, Terrans have a great time in 2v2. Like, early game, they're like, here, have some gas, partner. And then the partner does all the work, and the Terran's just like, oh, by the way, I'm maxed out on mech, lol. And that's it. That's, you know, it's kind of crazy to me just how good a time Terrans have in 2v2, I swear. So you trade like 500 gas for basically like 10 minutes of nothing. 10 minutes of safety to build up the most insane mech army that you've never gotten to before without being harassed massively. So I was trying to fight Spirit off of what is his potential fourth base here. And Zmita's just finding a few overlords at the moment. It's actually Serral's overlords flying across this gap. I'm just going to be seeing the Zmita's Trying to find something over here. They've got to be careful of the Vipers, of course. We've seen the parasitic bombs already and how deadly they can be. How low they can build. I'll bring a whole bunch of stuff if you're not careful. Just got to be really careful about that. For the moment, as we see our mutas continue to dive in, Queen goes down. Now mutas escape off to the right-hand side. These Zerg armies are collecting in the middle of the map. They are both maxed, but the problem with this map is you can have such a defensive high ground position to kind of hold the central attack pathway. It kind of feels difficult to actually see an attack truly going to be kind of coming through there at all, so I suppose let's see. So you see them trying to brute force their way up here. I mean, they have kind of broken their way in. Still maxed out. Serral and Mixu on one big onslaught here is kind of making it happen. Oh my goodness, Finland are kind of doing it at the moment. No? Finland are kind of doing it at the moment. They really kind of are, I think. So far, so good. I mean, just going to continue pushing through. Serral's army's taking a bit of a beating, but they're going to get rid of this Elazer base. What is the extra defense is looking like? Well, reinforcements are being shut down a little bit, so that hurts, but I feel like they should be able to get through it. I mean, they don't even have to break through there as well. They can just pick off these external bases and really cap their opponents on like a combined 5 base. I mean, then they should just be able to outmass their opponents throughout the rest of the game, no? I would imagine. Suppose let's see is just going to be seeing these roaches still here. Now a mech army trying to move forward to try and protect these bases. Looks as though we might not kill too much more. Elazer's definitely hurting the most. Spirit can still be the carry here with that mech force. You gotta remember that it's basically just roaches and kind of mid-tier units out of Finland. So if they don't win the game, continuing on is typically bad against mech and lurkers and just tech units in general, right? So it's definitely part of the problem. You get some parasitic bombs off there. Actually does land on a muta that was not initially targeted down, so has to split away from it. And a bit more energy up on those Vipers. Continue to bring that in at the moment. Let's just continue to burrow up for now, moving out the sides. Continue to burrow up over here. Those few roaches will die, so they go down without issue. A little mine shot going off, nothing too serious just there though. As he's going to be seeing this attack over here. Really needs to break down these lurkers. There's a lot of them. I'm going to say maybe some abducts actually just to bring them forward. The blinding cloud initially was good, but there just needed to be something more for the most part, and it did come down there in the end. And a couple of abducts off on some tanks here as well as we continue through this. I'm a little bit worried now for Finland, guys. I feel like they just don't have what they need to keep things going here. They don't have the power to kind of rebuild and go again. And I think that actually Poland have had enough of a defense. It looked scary for Poland. Finland was right up in their faces, denying bases, but they were able to get a hold. And honestly, at the end of the day, it didn't even feel like they lost that many bases. Considering the situation it looked like they were in, it looked like they were in so much more trouble, honestly. Kind of crazy. Over here, going to get rid of a few Zerglings, by the way. Let's get rid of those. Continue up this right-hand side, going to get rid of a few more Lings wherever possible, and well, just trying to shut down economies further. I mean, for a Spirit, they're somewhat of giveaway units. You don't care so much about those Hellions as... Oh, we're going to find the Infestors of Mixu with these Lurkers. 3 of them go down. Wow, nice catch. The Lurkers are going to deliver again here from Elazer. And again, just feels like this Polish army is getting to be way too strong right now, way too teched up, way too powerful at the moment. T-Lurk is going to go pressing forward. A Queen in the center going to take a final shot, and that is going to go down, down, down tonight. These Lurkers firing up a storm. Queen's taking some extra damage. Lings, Roaches, Hydras moving through to try and flank this army back, so Lurkers have to pull away. They have to start burrowing up. These Lurkers just keep on coming through. A couple of them already getting shot down. Now they're going to get surrounded, though. This is not the first time we've seen Poland be kind of a little bit reckless with Lurkers and kind of maybe give their opponents a way back into the game. I mean, in the end, we're going to make something of a harassment out of it, but it really feels like this was, you know, a lot of Lurkers donated that could have just been better off elsewhere. And it is tough to harass on this map because, again, everything happens through the direct center. It's so hard to sneak around past your opponents. The map's just not really built like that at all, so... especially when they have creep everywhere. Well, if you're still wandering around, we've got the Vipers up in the sky here, and obviously Elazer and Mixu will... Elazer, Mixu, Serral and Mixu are just hoping they can... I mean, Mixu, look at his bank. What's he trying to go for? Double Spire? Is he trying to get into Broods? I know what, if he gets to a good amount of Brood Lords, it could be actually really awesome, right? Because then all of a sudden... Is there a good answer to Brood Lords right now? Like, there could be, but as it currently stands, I don't think there is. And Mixu's supply is low, but he's banking up money for good reason, it would seem. Looking very good there. Maybe get something out of this. Rest of these roaches and lings moving back around. Lurk is still set up in the center, picking away at some of this creep spread. 16 Corruptors producing for Mixu. Great Aspire on the way. I like the plan. If there's a way to make this happen, if there's a way to make this work, this is probably gonna be it. Do you have to be as good as Serral to not kill your own hatchery with Vipers? Probably. The thing is, I mean, obviously you could not kill your own hatchery with Vipers, but when the game's kind of crazy, it's very easy to sit there and watch your Vipers and make sure that they're not going to kill the hatchery, but Serral's fast enough, you can just set them off, go look around, and come check back, or have a sense of when to check back to make sure the hatchery isn't dead, right? So, yeah, probably. There's definitely some skill to it. I'm sure Serral does it a lot less than anyone else. A lot more efficiently than anyone else, I guess. I like the Nidus. That was something we saw in the last game of 2v2 that was kind of cool over time, but we also saw this, which is the Massive Ghost. Are they going to be the answer to the Brood Lords? We're going to need some very, very sneaky... infestors to land some fungals on those ghosts, I think, at this stage to really deal with that. He just did kill his hatchery? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes it happens. Yeah, I didn't see. There was a game earlier, though, where I thought he was going to. I thought that was what the reference was. And I thought he was going to, and he's just like, he stopped at like the perfect time. I was like, of course, it's Serral. So I thought that was just someone bringing it up again. So yeah, my bad. Actually, I didn't quite see that as I guess I was reading Twitch chat or something. My bad. Yikes, Twitch chat, you distracted me. All this amazing conversation. Actually, there's been kind of a cool conversation about kind of cool compositions that work and stuff. Is hey, a Nidus actually successfully kills a base of a Elazer. That is rather exciting, actually. That is kind of cool. So Roach is popping now. Gonna actually go back into that Nidus network, so they're gonna pull back around the other way. Lord's firing up a bit of a storm, and just going to be seeing the tanks lining up over here as we've got ourselves the Earthlings continuing to try and line up some damage wherever possible. So many ghosts. If you could just land a fungal on them, then brilliant. More easily said than done. This is just like a ghost show, man. Snipe City. Right now, I'm gonna Nidus up on the counter. Lasers like, you guys Nidus us so much, let me Nidus you. Serral's like, I will not miss that. Immediately units come over here to deal with this, so don't even think double Nidus matters. Well, hey, a few lurkers got out, but there's lurkers as a response to lurkers. And there's obviously detection on one side, not from the other, although the Lings did run in and die still. Meanwhile, a little bit of a drop play over here. Mixu and Serral are doing everything they possibly can to break through their opponents here. They are really leaving no option untouched. It's just seemingly so far not quite enough still. There's a little fungal growth, lands on a few medevacs, but there's not really much of a follow-up to that. Some additional snipes lining up. These overlords are going to try and get away as the ghosts will chase those overlords out through the bottom side. Yeah, this map is definitely designed to end up in like a split map situation. Like I say, there's just not good ways around the map, which is why we're seeing all of these drop plays, Niduses, because there's no better way to try and do something with your units apart from fighting through the center. But fighting through the middle kind of sucks here as well. Resources lost is definitely better for Elazer and Spirit, and that's the issue too. Is, I mean, at the moment, I mean, Serral and Mixu don't even get all of their bases in mind from, because this base here gets denied. So they're just not in a good position. They need to kind of end this game with like one. They need one massive fight that goes heavily in their favor, and I feel like that's just so difficult to find here. This mech army, ghost army, just supported by Zerg, is pretty freaking powerful, to say the least. Hydras and Vipers continue to push through, so it really is Elazer and Spirit that continue to get aggressive. We are nuking away right now, and Spirit's just nuking everywhere, trying to find something big. Oh, massive abducts! Massive abducts, if I want to speak English here, on those Vipers. A lot going down for Serral, I believe. He has to rebuild 7 Vipers there. That nuke lands as well. The Broodlords were almost in it. It clears up some static defenses, and again, Elazer and Spirit are on the hunt, I think, to try and close this game out. Masses of nukes coming in right now. Sorry, I'm sneezing. Great time to sneeze, just as we're going to get a massive of snipes coming in, not nukes. As the Broods went in towards the Ghost there, so a little bit of a fight breaking out. These Lurkers burrowed up, trying to get another base. Elazer has money to keep replacing them, but again, maybe that's some of the inefficiency that Serral and Mixu need to really take a step back into this game, right? So definitely some potential there. Got a couple Hydras top right. Gonna go knock down that Nidus. Pushing through with everything else. Gonna get an Overseer abducted in as well. Bring that through. Gonna line up another nuke over here. It's just gonna try and get that down onto this army. Just gonna be seeing the Hydras and the Lurkers pushing forward as well. Nuke gonna be coming in. We get a couple of abducts off on these Infestors, so they get taken down. And the rest of these Spore Crawlers are trying to push forward as well. So before they go, a couple fungal growths going down as well. The Spore's going to pull back. The nuke is looking like it'll land. Obviously, you can't stop it, it seems. So no, the Broodlords, why are you here? Oh my goodness, the Broodlords just kind of walked into the tail end of that nuke. And I mean, it didn't take the most damage as they just get abducted in. And the Ghost stays safely back out of Infestor range, getting a bunch of snipes off. Mixu's Broodlords just haven't been able to join the fights properly at all. The ones that do get involved in are the ones where apparently they're going to get nuked halfway down before they even get to fire Broodlings. Nuke after nuke continues to land here, guys, in this 2v2. Here in Nationwars, decide a match of the group. Poland looking to try and make the round of 8. Patch, stack defense, broken over here. Again, Poland's 2v2 has been one of the stronger 2v2s in the tournament, and it's simple. They just feed Elazer early, and once they're done with feeding Elazer early, they will just have Spirit on that mech army that slowly transitions across to Ghost. It's a basic strategy, but it's been very effective in this event so far. Druids don't die to a nuke only if you hit them in the middle. That was like, nukes have decreasing damage the further out from the center you are. So that was the Broods just kind of being in like the edge range of the nuke. More than anything else. Just going to be seeing a Hydra still pushing through. Roaches and Lurkers getting back toward a Nidus network. Another nuke down into the bottom right-hand corner. And again, just it turns out Viper Ghost is really pretty sick, right? Viper Ghost is pretty good. And that's what we're currently learning as mass snipes go off and some morphing units. We have a few ghosts looking for EMPs. They are gonna still have an EMP available. That's the Infestors out of energy. And once again, we are just abducting in Broodlords and, well, massing snipes. Mixu's army gets deleted. Resources lost. Disgustingly in favor of Elazer and Spirit at this point. I mean, Serral's played efficiently, but I mean, Serral hasn't been through on the Broodlords. He's going to try and launch an attack over on this side while the Ghosts are out of position, but I mean, this is basically 1v2. Serral attempting to do something crazy here. I don't even think Serral can make this happen. He's moving his Infestors around the best he can. And obviously got the units from Mixu trying to come in now from the right-hand side. Can they make this work? They get a massive fungal on the Ghost on the low ground, but it just doesn't last long enough. The medevacs evacuate, and yeah, Mixu's below 100 supply. Serral is at 134. Zerg turns out to not be very good in 2v2 still, unfortunately, guys. More snipes coming down. All of these Vipers going down. The Infestors are going to start falling. There's some good spellcasting, fungals, and parasitic bombs going off, but these Ghosts have just been freaking unkillable. GG says Mixu, GG says Serral. Poland will move to the quarterfinals, the playoffs of Nation Wars. Congratulations, Poland.